Okay, well, good evening. This is the February 24th, 2025 Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. I'm Nick Scull, Commissioner Ward 1. To my right is Ben Olszewski, Commissioner. Township Manager, Assistant Township Manager John Bates is here. And Brianna Bryant, our solicitor, and Kate
Kohler,
our township manager. A little Biden moment there. Are there any announcements? No.
Or none.
Okay. Any public comments on Parks and Rec? No. Okay, approval of the minutes from January 27th.
No comment from me on those. I'm okay to move them forward.
Okay, well, I'm excited because I have a correction.
Okay.
Only because it gives me a chance to show up. In the minutes, it was talking about the farmstead. It was talking about the window in the barn. This is what happens when someone, types the minutes from the oral presentation. Talked about the greenery. Window in the greenery. No, it's granary. And that's an important part of a barn. It's built in the corner usually, so it has two stone walls, and it has a heavy door and entrance, because that's where they store the grain in the winter. And they would, harvest the grain on the floor of the barn, and then store the grain there. And for farmers, that was like gold. It was the farmer's gold. So it's a window on the granary. So anyway, we'll move those forward. Okay, monthly report. Kate, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Commissioner. I hope you had a minute to read through what we've been working on in January. Some highlights from my department. I wanted to go over our maintenance crew has been working on this snow removal that we're hoping has come to an end for the year, and looking at the forecast, that might be so. In addition to that, they're working on vehicle maintenance, and then most recently tree work. The storms last week blew a lot of trees down. There was a lot of issues. So we're taking inventory, cutting up trees, planning to grind stumps, and then replant in the spring. Our recreation division, we had our Polar Prance dance, which is our tween dance, last week. We sold out with 75 youngsters dancing the night away for 2 hours. It's loud and crazy, but we can do anything for 2 hours, and they love it. So we'll keep doing that. Jen and Spencer are working on summer preparations, mainly securing space for our programs and hiring summer staff. They have posted on our site for summer camp positions, and we are currently hiring park attendants. Additionally, we have our Earth Day Arbor Day celebration, which is actually EAC that runs that. We support them in this event, and that is being held on April 26th at Masons Mill Park. Administratively, I am working on taking some grant workshops and trainings. There are some grants that are coming up that I'm applying to, so I figured learning before doing so is great. Been working with DCNR for pre-grant information, and we are also in the process of hiring a new Parks and Rec secretary / township receptionist. I also wanted to mention, I am the chairperson for what's called the Montgomery County Senior Games. It's a week-long event for senior citizens of Montgomery County, and I did enter to receive an award from PRPS for that event, and we were awarded excellence in programming for that. So pretty proud of that. Thank you. So we'll be getting that in March at the Parks and Recreation Conference in Hershey. If you have any questions, or if I can elaborate on anything, I'd love to.
No, I'm glad you're taking grant workshops. You've been very successful with grants so far. I didn't think you'd need more training, but there's always new stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate.
Library Board of Trustees.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Diane Walton. I'm in my second year on the Board of Trustees for the library. And I live on Silver Avenue at the top of the hill. The March Library Happenings flyer was emailed to you last week. We appreciate you sharing these monthly flyers with your email lists and social media channels and helping us to reach more members of the community to share all the things that the library is doing. We want to say a special thank you to the businesses, community groups, nonprofits, and individuals that provided additional financial support to the library in 2024. Gifts and support for friends of the Upper Moreland Free Public Library and the library ensure that we are able to increase our efforts to meet the needs of our community. In particular, we want to recognize Commissioner Whiting, who has been instrumental in obtaining annual sponsorships from Freedom Credit Union. We have recognized the previous year's donors on our website and want to take this opportunity to thank them all publicly as well. In preparing the library's annual report for the state, we generate a number of statistics that show the valuable role of the library in our community, and I wanted to share some of those statistics with you. In 2024, more than $2.25 million was saved by library users borrowing books and other physical items from the library instead of buying them. This averages out to almost $220 per household last year, a great return on investment of our tax dollars. In 2024, there were over 37,600 in-person visits to the library, more than 1,000 over the previous year. Although library users are increasingly relying on digital services the library offers, we're proud to remain a place where so many in our community visit on a regular basis. The last item, from March 1st to April 30th, we're encouraging kids to practice their creativity and write a letter to their favorite fictional character. Letters can be dropped off via a special mailbox inside the library. Letters and responses from the characters will be posted on a bulletin board in the library. There is stationery available for pickup at the children's room desk if needed. Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I don't, but thank you very much for your report.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, no. No, there we go. To jump back to the right page. Okay, old business, the SEPTA train station relocation. There's a long memo on that in the minutes, but John, would you like to speak to it?
Sure. So basically, this authorization is asking that the board gets to move forward, authorizing the solicitor's office to coordinate with SEPTA's solicitor's office to prepare a memorandum of understanding based on verbal and email agreements made previously, so that we can move forward. It sounds like SEPTA is finally ready to move forward with this project, and we would like to get that draft understanding in order to move forward next month.
Great. Commissioner McFatridge, I know you'll enjoy talking about this.
As well as you. We've worked on this for a lot of years. The only thing I would say, it will come back to us, the agreement or memorandum, before it would actually be signed or go back to them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because there's some things that they did promise us with the ground swaps, the actual amount of ground and all that. So I just want to make sure it's all in there from the last 7 years that we've been talking. Because every time we go to them, it's a new manager. We're on our third manager from dealing with them. So, Okay, that was it.
Thank you.
And maybe the heart of the agreement is they're going to rebuild part of the parking lot, and they're going to give us money to build a skate park. And they're going to give us 75% of the cost of $1 million something. So that's a big chunk of money, and it's going to be, I guess we would have to raise another 25% from grant money, which we can do. And so that's moving forward once we get the memorandum of understanding signed back. And then the next old business is the Bonnet Lane utility post relocation. It's another big one.
Do you want to speak to this?
I can take this one. So this is another project that has been in the works for quite some time. So Bonnet Lane, also Mill Creek Park, it has been identified that the poles that align Mill Road need to be relocated. Additionally, we purchased some of those properties with a flood buyout program years ago, and the utility wires now go directly across the park. Future, hopefully, with redoing that park is, to have that all open space. So we met with Comcast, Pico, and Verizon, as well as Bowman, our traffic engineer, to determine which poles need to be relocated. Bowman had secured a grant in the amount of $250,000 for the township, which will cover all costs of this project. So basically, we're just seeking approval to authorize them to move forward with this. No cost, no match, just have to say yes.
Just can imagine how hard it is to get cooperation from all PennDOT and Comcast and God knows who else.
Well, PennDOT wasn't involved in this particular one. It was, Comcast, Pico, and Verizon, so the utilities.
Well, this one has been going on for a long time also. All right, new business, Monco grant resolution for the Power Line Trail. Once again, Katie.
So last month, you had authorized us to draft up resolutions. They are complete now as of this morning. They're not in this new packet, but they will be ready for the March 3rd meeting for the full board to vote or to complete them.
Also, just to note, these grants are due next month.
Okay. So it's the application, resolution for the application. And the DCNR grant for Power Line Trail.
So there are two separate grants that we are applying for. So we needed two resolutions.
I see. All right. Other items, there's going to be a meeting February 27th, 6:30 at the Willow Grove YMCA. The Monco presentation for Cross County Trail. So if you're interested in the Cross County Trail and what it means for Upper Moreland, I suggest you go to the meeting. It's February 27th, 6:30 p.m. at the Y. Let's see. Move the line up. There we go. Oh, okay. And then the last item, second last item, upstream suburban Philadelphia upstream suburban Philadelphia collaborative watershed, USP. Farmstead Park Stormwater Management and Rewilding Project Watershed Champion Award. So who do we blame for that?
So this was a collaboration between Pennypack Ecological Restoration Trust and us for environmental improvements at Farmstead Park. Was recognized by the Upstream Suburban Philadelphia Collaborative Watershed, USP, presented Upper Moreland Parks and Recreation with this really cool Water Droplet Award. We are a watershed champion for 2024 because of this work in environmental improvements. We were super proud of that and happy to accept that award.
Congratulations.
And what that means is that out of this grant, we got money to rebuild some of one of the buildings at the park, the buildings in the Farmstead Park, repave the parking lot, but most importantly, and the trail, down below the farm, there's a wetlands. And for years and years, it would flood the neighborhood. And I mean, before I was a commissioner, I first got involved around year 2000. This was an issue. And we at one point got a grant to put a little culvert in. But anyway, as a result of this grant, they're planting trees in that wetlands to absorb the water, and also it helps keep the Pennypack Creek clean, because the little creek is a tributary of the Pennypack, and it's going to make the park more beautiful. And the houses that surround the swamp as it used to be, going to have a nice forest behind them. All right, now the last one I want to say. PA Recreation and Park Society has awarded Alan Sentman Community Champion Award for his work on the Farmstead Park. Is that correct?
Yes, so that's our final award of the evening. We're going to end on a great note. We were notified last week that Alan will be presented this award at the annual Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society Conference in March. It is not a surprise to him. We wanted him to be able to attend and bring his family. So he will be in attendance, and it's called the Community Champion Award. Alan is receiving this award for his many volunteer hours, efforts, tireless dedication to Farmstead Alliance. So we're happy that he's getting recognized for this as well. So we can cheer for that one too. Hopefully he'll be present next month and he can bring the award, and we can make a big deal about it next month.
That'd be great, yeah. One of my smartest moves, I was president Friends of Boileau before it was the Farmstead. And as president, getting beat up a lot doing the job. It's like, oh, no one else is going to do this. So Alan came along, I met Alan, and he's a great guy. And so he was on the board for a while, and I said, we need an executive director. So he became the executive director, and I kind of became the emeritus, so that was great. And he's done a lot more work than I could have ever accomplished on the farm, and I'm very proud for him. My wife calls him my good son. Anyway, are there any commissioner comments? Yes.
Not a commissioner, but I just wanted to let the resident know who was asking about tax assessment appeals. I did reach out to our tax attorneys who work with the tax assessment appeals, and they mentioned that the criteria that the assessment amounts are made are attorney-client privilege, because it has to deal with settlement negotiations. So it's attorney-client privilege, and it's confidential.
Well, I can say at one time, I lived in the same house for 30-some years. At one point, we bought the house, and then the floor fell out of the housing market, and our house lost $50,000 in value, but the taxes stayed the same. So I hired an appraiser. I got an assessment, lower assessment, and I appealed. And I got my tax bill lowered by $50,000. So it's not a bad process. Anyway. So are there any commissioner comments? Well, with that, we're adjourned. Good night.